cut this big, most excavators and general contractors will not go straight up with it for obvious reasons, because if there's some sort of cave off, it's going to hit you. So they bench it back like this, pretty close to a 1-to-1, or sometimes even more severe. So our cut, really, we only need rock back to about here, and our grid zone stopped right here. So from here back, we're not getting paid for that. This is all we're getting paid to fill up. So anything back there is extra that's not in the bid. So you're going to make sure that you're talking with your excavator or the superintendent to make sure that they are putting the dirt back there, and you're not filling that cut up with rock or aggregate or AB3, anything that you're paying for, because it's just like throwing money out the window. The excavator here is bringing a big machine on Wednesday, which is in a couple days. He's going to start putting dirt behind our backfill. And I don't mind tracking it in for him as we go. We're back here already, but I'm not going to spend money hauling dirt in or filling this up with AB3, because by the time we get to the top of the wall, that's 15 feet back. We'll be filling up with rock. That's not our scope. Our scope ends at the back of our green zone. Another thing you want to be mindful of is making sure you cover up your footing. You need to put a toe on your wall. This is the base course right here, and it's exposed right now. You can see the base out in front of the wall. That'll be cared for today, because what happens is if you don't, inevitably it's going to rain, or some equipment's going to run around there, and it's going to erode your footing, and then the base course is going to fail, move, and then you're in trouble. So make sure that you're covering up your footing as soon as possible. They've got the footing in, they've got the base course in, and for the most part, it's towed in. It's got dirt up against the face of it and covered the wall on the base for the whole court, the whole length of the wall. There's a few exposed areas, but that'll be cared for here pretty soon. And just make sure that that's covered, because if not, it wouldn't be surprising at all for footings to get washed away with the rain that we have around here. There's water sitting on the footing down there. We have to get out before we can do anything with that. So you can make sure that you're caring for the footing. Just little things like that will go a long way and help you to make money build walls, not to spend money. You'll notice these panels, a couple of them are cracked on the top side here, or chipped off. These are ones that we're burying in the base. We're burying more than an entire course here, and so you can use panels like that as long as they're not cracked across the middle. If there's a piece missing on the corner, it's fine if it's going to be buried, but again, you don't want that to be exposed for a couple different reasons. You don't want aggregate leaking through the face of your wall, and secondly, if it's visible at all, it's going to cause a problem. It's going to have to be taken out, and again, that's not an easy fix. I would recommend getting a rubber mount like this. PaveTech sells them. They're called wall mallets. The guys that we learned this from were using wooden blocks and sledgehammers, which gets the job done, but it's kind of primitive and it takes a lot longer to track that stuff down. This you can use for anything. They can set their wedges with it, they can set the panels with it, they can drive stakes with it because it's got a hardened edge over here. So you're going to need something besides a generic rubber mallet that you can just buy at Home Depot or something. You need to get one of these. They're not terribly expensive. I think about $90 or $100 from PaveTech, and they're worth every bit. The heads are replaceable, so it's important to have the right tools when you're doing this too. Otherwise, it makes the day very, very long. Another trick that he's doing right there. Sometimes, for whatever reason, the steel will be bent down, or the counter fork is a little off, and your wedge is not big enough to spread that gap between them. So you just take two wedges and pin one in there, pound the other one in there, and it'll stay tight enough for you to compact it and lock the thing in place. Another good thing to do is to take your laser like Udi is doing here and just keep checking it. I mean, he's going to stay close to the string, but you never know if the string's been bumped. So the more often you check it, the better you are. See, it's just a tad high there, so he's going to move it down. It may look consistent, but the laser tells the truth. tile goes in the back of the counterfork. You can put it up next to the panels, but it doesn't do any good because it tends to go up and down over the counterforks. So it's engineered to go right up against the back of these counterforks, and it'll take any water that runs down through the drainage column and carry it with it out to the end of the wall. So all of our walls have 3 or 4-inch perforated drain tile with a sock around them. And more often than not, you have to daylight that drain tile every 50 foot. The engineers around here usually call for it every 50 foot. This wall, for whatever reason, they only want it daylighted at the end of the wall down there where it's the lowest point, so it's not going to get put through the wall. But if we were to put it through the wall, we would take a panel and always do it in the bottom of your panel, or the bottom of your block. So we cut a square out of it, a 5-inch square, and you keep your drain tile run along here, but you can hook a T into it and run a piece out the face of the wall, about a foot past the face of the wall. You just cut a 5-inch square out of the corner of it. You don't want to try to cut it up here in the middle or in the middle of the block. There's no way to do that other than getting a core drill, and that's unnecessary. So cut a 5-inch square, and the 4-inch drain tile fits through it nicely. You stick it out the face as far as you need, and usually it's up to the finish guys to decide if they want to cut it off flush with the wall or let it run out past it a little bit. You just want to make sure that wherever the finished grade of your wall is, the dirt grade out front, you want to be just above that. You don't want to be below it because then that just creates a pond. You don't want to be too high in the air because then it's not aesthetically pleasing. You don't want to see it. You want it as close to the ground as possible. If possible, you want the grass to kind of cover it. But that's where you want it going out. And if it's too high in the wall, then the water just runs past it, and it doesn't catch anything. You want it at the bottom, the lowest point of the wall, right in front of, right above the dirt level, the dirt grade out front of the wall. One thing we need to be aware of: most of our walls are above 30 inches, so you've got to have a fence on top of them. With lock and load, you're kind of locked in with where you put the fence sleeves. Sometimes there's a question: how far apart is the spacing? Is it 8 feet, 6 feet? With these walls, it's set almost. There's no playing around with it because of the counterforks. Usually, you've got to bury a fence sleeve 2 foot, 2.5 feet. And so you have to be careful that you're paying attention to that, because right now you can't just move your fence sleeve around, because there's going to be a panel above this with a counterfork right in the middle here. So it's got to be in between the counterfork here and the one here. And it's fine as long as you're paying attention to that. When you get to the top of the wall, you need to be talking with the fence contractor or the general contractor, the superintendent, telling them the spacing that's available for your wall. Because what's going to happen is, if not, you get to the top of the wall and they say, we want these fence sleeves at 95 inches. Well, 95 inches may be common, but it's not going to go in a lock and load wall, because you can't just space it out. It has to be consistent with the panels and with the width of the counterforks apart from each other. It has to be the same. So keep that in the back of your mind as you build the wall. Then you can have a foot. That's how big. And generally they're bigger than this. We use 12-inch ones or 8-inch sleeves. But you got to be able to fit in between the counterfork below and the counterfork above. You're only going to run through 2 courses, because there's 16 inches a piece. You're not going to get any deeper than that with a sleeve, but it will have to fit in between this counterfork and the one above it that will be right in the middle of the panel, the panels below it.